Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of Awaken Experiences. My name is Jamalet, and here I am with my son and co host, David.
Hi guys.
So, today we're going to talk about traveling alone. I have a lot of people that tells me, I don't know how can you go and travel by yourself or go to a country where they don't speak English or they don't speak Spanish or any, I don't know how you do it. Like, I wouldn't be able to do it. And I tell them that, you have to get out there. You just got to pick your bags and go. So, I'm just making this podcast to encourage people, to travel alone and to take the risk and just be out there and don't be afraid. If your friend can't come or if you have to travel alone, just pick up your bags and go. For the longest time, I wanted to visit Egypt. So last year we finally went. And I have been talking about it for a few years, but I was a little worried about going alone. I wasn't sure whether or not to hire a travel agency or wait for a group of friends to come with me. And I actually was going to go with a group of friends, but they kind of canceled like 6 months before the trip, like saying, "Oh, we cannot go, we don't have the money." Yeah, so that was messed up. But I still kept planning my trip. And it was like I manifested it. It was like, at one point I wasn't sure if I was going to go, but things just kept happening. Like, I bought my plane tickets. And then all of a sudden I was doing like a lot of research, making sure, like, charging the phone. How am I going to charge the phone? They have a different voltage over there.
Yeah.
And it was actually pretty cool. Like, a lot of people, when they go, they stay in hotels. I chose to stay on an Airbnb, which was a little bit new for me. I mean, I've stayed on Airbnbs before, but since this was like a totally foreign country, like, I heard so many horror stories about, being robbed or be something happening on an Airbnb because, somebody else has the key to your place, and you don't know what's going on in a foreign country. So you hear so many horror stories that it's like, but at the same time, staying in a hotel is so expensive.
Yeah, it is so expensive.
It's way more expensive than staying on an Airbnb. So, I did my research, read reviews, and I kept planning all by myself. And I also knew that hiring a travel agency was going to cost me an arm and a leg. So I decided to plan everything by myself. And the day finally came. You remember when we were so excited that we were like, okay,
Yes,
here we go.
I was so excited.
We flew from New York to Paris with a 9-hour layover. In Paris, which we visited the Eiffel Tower. And
Oh my god, the Eiffel Tower did not live up to my expectations.
really,
Yeah.
it was like, actually,
Like, I
it
don't
did-
know, the day was just so gloomy, it was cloudy, and then once we got to the Eiffel Tower, I was like, oh, it's just a big hunk of metal.
Yeah, and not only that, like, it was like the grass, it was like non-existent.
Yeah, there
It
was no
like,
grass, it was just like a bunch of soil and mud in some spots.
right. It was like a little weird. It's so overrated.
But I think if we went there during the right perfect time with all the grass green, then we would have been like, okay, maybe this is better.
Well, I guess so. I mean, the Eiffel Tower was overrated. I do want to
guess
go.
so,
I
yeah.
do want to go back to France though, because 9 hours was not enough.
Yeah, 9 hours wasn't enough.
Yeah, I want to see the museums, the different
yeah.
stuff. There's so much to see in
Yeah.
France.
There is.
But Paris was a little bit overrated. So was the Eiffel Tower, and
Yeah.
yeah, but it was cool. It was just we were just like getting to see stuff. Anyway, so we finally arrived in Cairo, and we went through customs, and it was so funny because when we finally got out of, we got our bags and we got out of
Mm-hmm.
the, we were finally outside. It was like we took a taxi from the airport, but you have to be careful when you go because you cannot go into like any taxi. You have to make sure that the taxi works for the airport. Like they have like this
Yeah.
little badges hanging off their
Yeah,
necks
yeah, yeah.
that they work with the airport. And you know what? Everything in Egypt is a freaking haggle. Like you have to haggle
Mm-hmm.
for everything.
Yeah.
And you have to like haggle for price. And this guy wanted to charge us like a crazy amount to bring us from the airport to the Airbnb.
Yeah.
And we were not staying that far away. We were staying in this um it's called Doki. It's like this um neighborhood. It's right on the other side of the Nile River, and not that far away from the. It's probably like a 30-minute ride from the.
Yeah.
Anyways, it cost us like $25 from the airport, which at the end it was not that bad, but these people, they just, they see a tourist and they want to like rip them off.
Yeah, they think of us as like walking piggy banks.
Walking piggy banks. Yeah, that is so true. That is definitely. Well, anyway, we got there like at 11 p.m. He brought us to our Airbnb. Oh, and another thing I noticed is like how men, they sit in the front and
Oh,
women, they
yeah.
sit in the back of the
When we
of the
got
taxi.
when I remember when we first got to the airport, I was already culturally shocked because in the airport they would separate the lines from men and women and family.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, oh wow, in the United States they don't have this, or like in France when we waited in France they didn't have this either. So when we got to this country, it was so much cultural shock. And also in the airport there is a few rooms that Islams can pray, and in America they don't really have these
Oh, what
type of
about the
things.
smoking rooms?
They also have smoking rooms, which
I'm
is
like,
crazy.
inside the airport, like you don't see that in America. Like you have the praying room, which is fine. I respect that.
Yeah.
But then you have a room, right?
Dedicated for smoking.
Dedicated for smoking inside the airport. Obviously, all that smoke, it's not just, there's no windows in this room, so obviously it's gonna spread out throughout the
Yeah,
airport, and
and
all of a
we
sudden you're
smelled
like
it.
secondhand smoker. I'm like,
Yeah, we smelled it. It was crazy because in the United States, this is not really encouraged. Though we don't have smoking rooms at the United States airports.
no, not at all. And what could it be? How could it be so bad that you cannot just smoke outside and then go about your business if you have to catch a flight and
I don't know.
whatever. I don't know. I just thought this was so. Anyways, before you get in the taxi, make sure you set the price first. Otherwise you're gonna get to the hotel and they're gonna
And
try
they're
to
gonna-
charge you
yeah, a big
like
price.
like an arm and a leg only because you're a tourist. So anyway, the first day we basically recovered from jet lag. So we got there 11 p.m. and we slept a long time.
Yeah.
And we recovered. And like I said before, we were staying in this neighborhood called Doki, which was like really nice. We were staying in this place like right in front of the Nile River.
It was such a nice view.
That was a nice view. Especially if you went to the rooftop of the building. It was a really nice view. It was a really nice view. Egypt has a lot of good things and also bad things, but the Nile River and like it was just so. It's just like I read so many stories in the Bible as a child, and just to be there to witness it, it was just like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm here,
Yeah.
So on the first day, we really didn't do anything. We did go out and we took the train to Tahrir Square. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Tahrir Square. That's where there was like a whole civil war, not civil war, like a civil disturbance back in, I don't remember what year it was, but whenever it happened, It was in Tahrir Square near what the Egyptian Museum is right now. So we took the train there. That's another thing. Everything we did in Egypt, we did it like by ourselves. There was no agency, nobody picking us up. We figured it out with our phones. It was like we walked everywhere. It was a little bit scary. Oh my God, crossing the streets. You remember that?
Yeah, that was crazy. The cars don't stop.
They don't stop. They don't give a damn about you.
Yeah.
You could just be like crossing the street and like you gotta run. Otherwise, you're gonna get run over.
Yeah.
So we did that on the second day. We kind of got a feel for the city. We took the train. We went to Tahrir Square. We walked around and just got a feel for the city and stuff. And then we just came back home. We had a meal, right?
Yeah.
Which we order. Actually, they have a service that is like Uber Eats, but they call it something else, and they will deliver our food to our apartment, which was pretty cool, right?
Uber Eats didn't work in Egypt.
Oh no, Uber Eats doesn't work in Egypt. However, Uber does work in Cairo. Only Cairo though.
Oh yeah.
Not other cities. Only in Cairo Uber works. But that Uber is a little bit sketchy, but I'm going to get to that in a minute. You remember what happened when we were going to Pyramids of Giza? Yeah. Okay, I'll get that in a minute. So the third day, we decided to see the Giza pyramids. So we had to get all the way to the Giza Plateau. But the Giza Plateau is actually in the neighborhood is also called Giza. So we decided to take the train to Giza. And we took the train, and then when we got there, we realized that the pyramids were pretty far away from the train station. Yeah. So we decided to call on Uber to pick us up from the train station. I mean, it wasn't such a long ride. It was like 20 minutes in taxi?
Yeah.
Right.
It was not that
so we called the Uber. He picks us up, but then the Uber breaks down.
Yes.
In the middle of the trip. So he's like, oh, sorry, I cannot go anymore. I'm like, okay. So we're like in this like really, really crappy neighborhood, like run down. Like, we were not even in the center of Cairo that looks a little bit more like tourist and, more, fixed up. We were like in this like sketchy neighborhood, okay? In the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And the Uber breaks down. And then we're calling for another Uber, which takes forever to get there. That was like so ghetto. But anyway, we finally get picked up by the second Uber, which finally brings us to where the pyramids are. And that was just an experience. Then we get there, okay? And by the way, if you want to go inside the pyramids, like actually go inside and climb inside the pyramids, you have to buy an extra ticket, which they sell at the entrance of the complex, of the whole pyramid complex.
Of the surrounding, like,
right, they sell at the entrance. And if you don't buy your tickets there, like, they're not gonna let you in into the pyramids. I mean, you're gonna be able to see them from the outside, but for me, the whole experience is to go all the way in and do the climb.
Actually,
and climb
let's say if you forgot to buy the tickets to enter, there are sometimes people who like, they're like down on the low trying to give it to you, but you pay a little extra.
Right, you have to bribe the guy at the entrance.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. That's a little weird though.
Yeah, it is.
Especially on Giza, because there's so many people like watching there. Like, I don't think we would have been able to get away with bribing the guy at Giza because...
No, not bribing, but there are people who try to bribe you. Like, let's say you don't have it and there's a problem, like, they like give it to you, or they just let you in for some type of money.
And what about the whole camel ride? Like oh my God, the moment you get there, okay, because then when you get to the complex, to the Giza complex, it's like, okay, you get there, but the pyramids are not right there. It's like you have to go this up the hill, right? Like this very long walk.
Road, yeah.
So what they do is that they have like little carriages, right? Like horses.
Or like you could just get on a camel.
Or you can just get on a camel. But I didn't want to get on a camel. I'm like, I love animals. Like I'm not an animal activist, but I not into like it was freaking 100-degree weather. Like who wants to like get your weight in a poor camel to bring you up the ramp? Like I just couldn't do it.
Mm.
But these people will like push you and push you and push you. It's like buy. It's like I don't know, like all they want is your money and they won't leave you alone. And another thing is like, remember you got robbed a
Oh
hundred
my
pounds to
god.
take your picture.
That was crazy, but I think it was worth it. I thought it was
Come
worth it.
on, you just felt good because you were helping the guy. Whatever, you made his
No,
day.
but still, because I got a picture on my phone with the camel, and it was just an
No, I'm not
experience.
talking about the picture with the camel. I'm talking about the guy that he's like,
Oh,
oh, let me take a picture of you. Like
oh
so
my
many
god,
people,
I
they will.
regret that. I regret that. Okay, the only thing I paid for okay, I regret paying the first dude, but for the second dude, he actually got me a picture with the camel, which is
No,
worth it.
no, that was worth it. Okay, that was worth it. A picture with the camel. You really didn't ride the camel. You only like, it was a picture with the camel. That's
Yeah,
fine. But the first dude, like a lot of people will come to you and say,
that was
"Oh, let me take a
crazy.
picture of you. Let me take a picture of you." But at the end of the day, the picture is not for free. You have to like give them some kind of tip, for them taking a picture of you,
Yeah.
which I think is a little bit like a scam. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe it. So they did that to my son, and then he gives him 100 pounds. Like that's nothing. Like you made his whole day.
I regret that.
Yeah, it was very but it was very deceiving. But you know what? Just going to the Giza pyramids, it was a very humbling experience. Just to be staring at one of the seven world wonders, that was
Mm-hmm.
like really, really humbling.
Yeah.
Being able to go inside and climb and
Not many people have that can do that type of experience.
no, not a lot of people can. And and the
I'm so
way
grateful for that.
yeah, I was grateful too. Like just go in there and climb. Damn, it was so hot in there.
Yeah, it was hot.
I'm like every inch of my body was sweating.
I sweated so much, and I think I actually lost so much weight there because of the food and how organic everything was. I was like at my lowest weight over there, which is crazy. And I think it was due to the sweat, all the hiking we did, and plus only eating one meal a day or two meals a day.
Well, all the
So, like,
hiking we did, it was crazy.
yeah.
And just go like the pyramids, just going inside the pyramids and
Oh
like
my
going up the
god.
stairs, and then
You
you're
remember?
like bent
Do you
in
remember
and
that one pyramid? It wasn't from the three pyramids. It wasn't those. It was this. It was, I forgot the name of the pyramid, but it was something like a black pyramid, right?
well,
And
we
we
went
went
to
down.
we besides the Giza pyramids. I was gonna get to that next. Besides the Giza pyramid, we also went to Saqqara, Djoser, and Memphis, which we did. That's the step pyramid, the one that
That's
you're
the
talking
one
about,
that we
and
we
the
went.
Red
Oh my
Pyramid.
god, that was not worth it. The climb down was so uncomfortable. You had to be bending down the whole time because in the history, these people they had to bend down because they're like facing a god. So when you enter the pyramid, you're always gonna be like you're gonna be bending down because you can't look at a god, or like a god is so sacred. So they built the pyramids so that their servants are bowing down the whole time.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, we did a lot of exercise going up and down the pyramids,
Yeah.
but for me, the most humbling one was the Giza pyramids. And then, actually, you remember at the end of that day, when we were leaving, we met the driver. Remember the driver that took us to the other
Yeah.
pyramids? Oh my God, I have such a, like, it was such a funny thing because, okay, we meet this driver at the Giza complex. And he was the one that was gonna take us back to Cairo. So fine, he takes us back to Cairo. He's a really, really nice guy, honest, everything. We set the price. He didn't try like to rip us off like that.
Yeah.
And so we tell him that the next day we want to do these other things. We want to go to Memphis, and we want to go to Saqqara. That's like another
Yeah.
little town. And we want to also go to the Djoser. We're going to see the pyramids there. So we make this appointment with him. He's going to pick us up the next day at 9 a.m., I think it was.
Yeah. It was early.
Right, but the thing is that he has this car that is falling apart.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. It's like,
I did
and
not
it's
want to
like
go in.
no air conditioner. The car is literally falling apart.
Yeah.
Okay? The doors can barely close. It was like, I'm like, I cannot believe I'm doing this. I cannot believe I'm doing this. This is
And
what
the-
you get for not hiring an agency.
Yeah, and the tires would pop because of how hot the road was.
Yeah, but if he had good tires, they wouldn't pop in the first
Yeah.
place.
Oh my god, that was
Well, the
crazy.
first day that we met him and his tires were popped, so we have to wait until he changed the tire. Okay, and then he brought us to Cairo. So then we hire him, and then he picks us up the next day to see the other pyramids. So we go, we do the whole thing. We see the pyramids. We spend the entire day with him because we went to like 3 different parts, and then it was like outside of Cairo. And you know, there was some driving time, and but then as he's coming back to drop us off, he gets another flat
Yeah,
tire.
but the good thing was that we were already like in our vicinity, in our area. We were by this rotunda, and then that's where it popped. But like we were right home. We were already
Thank
home.
God. But what about the other time that it popped the
Oh
day
my
before,
God.
and then we were like in the middle. We were almost getting there. Remember?
But we had to walk a lot.
We had to walk a lot because we hired this guy 2 days in a row. I was like, oh my God. And then after this, the last time his tire popped, he was like, oh, tomorrow I can come and pick you up again. I'm like, I'm saying in my head, no, buddy, we're not going out with you again. This is too many tire popping and
Yeah.
stuff. So that was like a funny thing, but at the same time, it was a learning experience, you know?
Yeah.
But I would definitely do it again. I would just hire somebody that has a better car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we did
definitely.
save a lot of money. We were only charged 900 pounds for the entire day.
Yeah.
That's like $50.
It's
But
just
then,
not bad.
no, not bad at all. And he brought us to like 3 different parts of Egypt, like outside of Cairo. So that was pretty good. And you know, I gave him like a $20 tip, so I gave him like $70. You know, and
Yeah.
I saw the flat tire and everything. I felt bad, and yeah, so I think
Yeah.
that he did good with us. And
Yeah. He did.
obviously, had it been a travel agency, it would have been way more
Smooth.
expensive,
And smooth.
but more smooth. Yeah. So yeah, that was our 3rd day.
Yeah.
No, actually, that was our 4th day. Then on our 5th day, what did we do on our 5th day? Well, we took the train. We went to see the Egyptian Museum, and we walked around. Remember, we went to this restaurant, and
Oh yeah, it was good food.
yeah, that was good food. That was nice.
Yeah.
And the Egyptian Museum, remember we saw there the Tutankhamun,
oh yeah.
the
King
face,
Tut.
the King
King
Tut,
Tut.
yeah, the golden face mask and the golden
Yeah.
and we saw mummies there.
Yeah, that's so crazy. And you know, they say in these museums and stuff, like, oh, don't take pictures of them. Like, and I believe in that 100% because it's like, these are like sacred things. Like, and then it's like kind of like mocking them if you take pictures of them. I didn't take pictures of them.
Well, I took some videos, not pictures, but
I
videos.
did take a picture of King Tut's statue, the gold thing.
The gold mask.
Yeah, but
And they didn't want anybody taking pictures,
they
though.
didn't want it. But like, I'm in Egypt, like it's like a cool thing. I'm never going back. So
Right.
it's like I wanted to take it. I mean, I don't think it was disrespect. I'm like, oh my god, I'm here in his glory. I want to take the picture.
And he has so much, you know, like gold, and his whole sarcophagus was like golden.
Yeah.
That was like really cool. That was
And
really
he
cool.
died at like my age.
Yeah, he died very young.
Yeah.
And he had some issues. Like he was like he couldn't walk right. He had like he needed a
Oh,
cane
yeah,
to
yeah.
walk, and
Yeah.
he had like a hip problem. I don't know. It's King Tut has a lot of, you know, he was not supposed to be a king, but it was like some family issues. I don't know. I read the story kind of. But anyway, the next day it was time to depart and leave our Airbnb to go to Luxor. That was
that's
such
so
a
bad.
trip.
That was so bad.
Well, I decided I had the great idea that I was not going to, that I was going to travel like a local. And instead of taking a flight to Luxor, we decided to
I
ride the train.
Next time we go to a third world country, I'm not gonna travel like a local. If it is that far, no.
It was a 12-hour trip from Cairo to Luxor. And we took the train, and I thought it was gonna be a good ride because I bought first class tickets, but the first class, there was no first class there.
That was not nice.
Oh my god! And can you tell us about the bathroom?
Oh my god. Okay, so I really needed to go to the bathroom, which I did not want to go because I already know, like, like the bathroom was gonna be bad. But anyways, I asked around and I go to the bathroom, and then I go inside the bathroom and I see the pee hole, like where the bathroom, and then you could see the tracks just running on the bottom as the train is going. So I'm like, okay, that's like weird. And then I just pee, and the pee comes out through the train, like outside of the train, and it just falls on the tracks. My
Fertilizer for the plants.
like, that's so crazy. And I just know by the train it smells disgusting because there's probably people pooping, pissing.
Oh my god! And the train is just, so it was just a hole on the
Yeah,
train.
it's a hole, and then there's in the bottom. It's just you could see the tracks and the rocks and everything.
Oh my god! Thank God me and Annabelle, we didn't have to go. 'Cause
Yeah.
Yep, no, thank God I didn't have to actually use the bathroom. But you know what? There was one thing good about the train, though, the air conditioner.
Oh yeah, the air conditioner.
They had air conditioner.
Yeah.
I guess that was the first class.
Yeah, the air conditioner.
That was the only thing, though.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, that was like so, that was so funny. And I swear I was never going to do it again. But thankfully, somebody went to pick us up when we got to Luxor.
Oh yeah.
The owner of the Airbnb that I was renting at Luxor, he had the services, like pickup services. So I was like, you have to pick me up. I'm worn out. I don't even know where your house is. Well, it was on the other side of the Nile River, which I didn't even know how we were gonna get there. But at least they picked us up, and
They dropped us off.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, and Luxor was a little bit more calmer than Cairo. It was like, more like less city and more
Countryside.
Yeah.
It was a really nice experience there. I liked it.
Yeah, it was a really nice experience. We were more relaxed. The apartment was gorgeous. It was looking straight to the Nile River. It was like right in front of the Nile River. And then we had like a really nice restaurant downstairs from us.
Yeah.
So we would just have to go downstairs, go to the restaurant. And oh my God, this other restaurant. Remember that restaurant that we would walk? What's the name of it? Africa restaurant. Yeah.
Yeah, African restaurant. That was really good.
Yeah,
It was worth the walk.
It was worth walking there, but it was not such a long walk. I mean, it was a long walk, but it wasn't like crazy long.
Yeah.
Right. And then we befriending this kid that kept us crossing us over from the west bank and the east bank of the Nile River.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, he was nice. That's another thing. Kids, they work over there. Like, you're 12, 13, and you're not, like, going to school. Like, they're working.
Only for, like, the rich, like, people there. The ones with more opportunities, they work there. But the kids who, like, have it rough in the beginning, they don't work. They don't go to school.
Right. Well, that's because they have, they like poor families and they have to work. It was like, I felt bad for this kid. And, and another thing, I tried to give him tip and stuff, and he didn't want to take the money.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
I don't understand why, but he didn't want to take the money. But anyways, while we were in Luxor, we visited the Luxor temple on the first day. And that's another thing, like a lot of people, they do, like, they only spend 3 days, let's say, in Luxor and 3 days in Cairo, and every day is like full packed with activities. But I wouldn't be able to do it. Like, the sun is so strong
It
that
wears you out.
it wears you out. Like by 1 p.m., all I wanted to do was go home and throw myself in the air conditioner. Like,
Yeah.
it was like I would be so tired. So I was able to only do one activity per day. Like, I spent
Yeah.
like 7 days in Luxor. And I was able only to do one activity per day because the sun is so strong. It's like it consumes you. It's like
Yeah, like
evaporates the
like
water out of
my
your muscles.
my face felt so toasted. My skin was toasted, and I literally like my skin, it like changed races. I'm not lying, because the sun was just so hot.
We were dark.
We I got so tanned in my Instagram pictures. My friends were like, David, like you getting so dark. What's going on? I'm like, this sun is burning me.
Yeah, so we went to every day we would do like a different activity. Like we went to the Luxor temple, we went to the Valley of the Kings and the Valley of the Queens. We also visited the Karnak temple. Basically we just walked there ourselves. We saw the Colossi of Menon, the Temple of Hatshepsut, Medinet Habu. We did that. We did hire a driver for one of the days.
Oh yeah, that was really comfortable.
Yeah, that was really comfortable. That was really nice. He had like air conditioner and stuff.
That's a
and,
nice car.
yeah, he brought us to the Valley of the Kings. That's where we actually saw the King's Tut,
King
mummy.
Tut's body, the mummy. Yeah.
Yeah, the actual body. They have it there, like encased in glass. It's like really. And we were able to go down into his tomb. Yeah, I mean, we were able to see other tombs from other pharaohs and other people.
Yeah.
But obviously, King Tut's was
the most famous one.
the most famous one. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's so hot over there. But anyways,
Oh yeah.
we also went into the hot air balloon ride. Remember?
The hot air balloon was such a good scenery. I love the scenery.
Yeah, you can see where the Sahara Desert ends, and then the green part starts.
And then you could also see the what was that place we went to? The Valley of the.
You can see the Valley of the Kings, and you can
Yeah.
see the Temple of Hatshepsut.
You could see all of that. It was such an amazing view.
Yeah, I have never been into a hot air balloon in my life before.
Me
That was
neither.
like a really, really nice experience. It was a little crazy though, how you have to, like, how the whole thing lands, and you cannot predict what the hot air balloon is gonna land.
Oh yeah.
And then we landed into this like banana field,
Yeah.
like banana plantation, like.
Yeah.
We took off from like a plane, right? Where they have like all the hot air balloons and stuff.
Yeah.
But then I guess the pilot of the hot air balloon, or I think that's just a thing for hot air balloons. I don't know. It was my first time. But it's not, you cannot go back to where you started from. So you kind of have to land whatever. So we landed into this like banana plantation, and it was like, but no, they had it very organized. They had like cars waiting for us
Yeah.
there, and
The guy looked very official. Like
yeah, the guy, we got certificates like, oh,
Yeah.
we flew on a hot air balloon. That was so
Yeah,
cool,
that was
right?
Cool, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was beautiful. It was very hot, but it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And you have to do, like I said, and every time we go to these temples, it's like everybody's always trying to sell you something. Everybody's trying to like sell you something, and they're so pushy. And and another thing I noticed is like, if you're a woman, like, they're not gonna pay attention to you. Like, I kept saying to my son,
yes.
you talk to them, you talk to them.
Yeah, and when I talked, they would like stop bothering us, which is crazy.
Yeah,
So
it was
what?
crazy.
So I have a question for you. What would you rate this trip 1 through 10? What would you rate it?
Okay, if we leave all the third world country stuff aside, and the whole thing, like, the little things, I would rate it a 9. Only because there's so much history, and there's so much stuff that I read on books, and I read it. It was like a dream come true. I would definitely rate it a 9.
Oh.
But if I take all the other stuff into consideration, Egypt is a great country. It's beautiful, and
Yeah.
but it still has a lot of growing up to do as far as like infrastructure,
And
as
it's
far
tourism stuff.
as tourism stuff.
Yeah.
They gotta get off the back of tourists. Tourists don't want to get molested. Like, if I'm gonna buy from you, I'm gonna buy from you, but don't be like after me, like forcing me to buy. Like, I didn't like that about Egypt. Like, that part I didn't like.
Yeah.
Like, they very pushy over there when it comes to tourists, and
Yeah.
it shouldn't be like that. It's like you have to stand your ground.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I liked it. I enjoyed it. There's a lot of history. I would do it again.
Yeah.
I wanted to go to Aswan, but I didn't get to go there. Actually, I had bought tickets and everything for the train ride. But I was like, you know
We're
what?
not getting back on that train.
I'm like, I'm not getting back on that train. And that would have only been like a 3-hour ride, actually, because it was only 3 hours.
I don't want to go through.
I wanted to
3 hours.
see Abu Simbel. That's like another big attraction in Egypt, but I just couldn't do it. I couldn't get on that train, and then I ended up. I had tickets to go back to Cairo actually in train, and I had to let them go,
And we took a plane back.
we took a plane back. I was like, I couldn't do another 12 hours pissing on a hole.
No, I couldn't either.
No, I couldn't do it again. So I ended up buying plane tickets back to Cairo, and then
Then from there we went back home.
yeah, we went back we did the whole thing, Paris,
Yeah,
New York.
And then the link,
Yeah, but it was really cool. I mean,
nice.
we did everything ourselves. We learned a lot of stuff of how to just do things by ourselves,
Yeah.
using our phones for translation, using our phones as a GPS.
Yeah.
We learned a lot. It was like a really learning experience, and
Yeah.
it's something that everybody should be open to do. Everybody should just take the risk and just throw themselves out there and just do the trip, even though it's going to scare you a little bit. We have phones. We have so much technology right now that, you shouldn't let fear of the unknown, being in the way of you.
Control your actions of what you really want to do.
Of what you really want to do. Exactly. So, yeah, I'm glad that we did this trip. I'm glad that we learned.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope, this encourages a lot of people to, take the risk. And
Because it's really not that bad.
no, it wasn't that bad. I thought that there was going to be more obstacles, but it wasn't that bad.
It was a good trip.
With our phones, we were pretty self-sufficient.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And everybody should do it. Everybody should just go out there and take their luggage and just travel, and no fear. And, as long as you have your phone, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for listening to us, guys.
Thank
and
you.
Until the next episode, we'll tell you something fun. Bye.
Bye.